As our new administration begins, we're also redoubling our commitment and our efforts to address one of San Francisco's most vexing and most, I think, significant challenges. And that's the challenge of homelessness, poverty, and panhandling. We have our 10-year chronic plan to end chronic homeless, led by Angela Alioto, that has already become a national model. Make no mistake. The state needs to step up and step in, particularly in the area of homelessness. I appreciate Philia's comments about some of the work we did in San Francisco, but one thing I learned quickly is there is no having made it. Success as it relates to homelessness is not a place, it's not a definition, it's a direction. We have been successful in San Francisco. Doug Shoemaker is here, who really helped lead a lot of these efforts.
This may not be the image that comes to mind when you think of Silicon Valley, but it's a scene that's become all too familiar here. Homeless people wedged between a freeway and a residential neighborhood.
Homelessness all over the headlines this week, and this evening we are going to answer a question that many of you have been asking for years now. If San Francisco spends nearly $250 million on the homeless every year, why are there still thousands of people living on the street? Where does that money go?
We are our behaviors. We are our broken system of government, politics. Look in the mirror, folks. It's the world we created. It happened on our watch. What you see out there on the streets and sidewalk happened on our watch.
Democrats run the city. They run the state.
Yep.
What are Democrats doing wrong when it comes to homelessness?
Well, we own it. We own poverty as well. We're the richest and poorest state. You can't sugarcoat that, and I think we have to accept that responsibility, that accountability to do more and do better. Specifically, we need a governor that's active in this space. We haven't been focused on it with intentionality. We've actually laid out a detailed strategy around homelessness. It's the reason I ran for mayor. It was a reason I think I got reelected for mayor. It's a reason I have a lot of critics when I was mayor as well. There's nothing easy about this. SSI advocacy, a framework around housing and supportive services. Shelters solve sleep. Housing and supportive services solve homelessness. None of the issues that are more resonant to me than the issue of poverty in the state, issue of homelessness in the state. This state in 21 days is going to get a governor that's passionately engaged in the issue of homelessness and housing, that actually has a plan that's not just discovered Skid Row today. There's another urgent moral issue we must confront, and that's this homelessness epidemic.
Governor Gavin Newsom says he plans to help California cities combat the crisis with a new commission on homelessness and supportive housing. Governor now committing more money to mental health, shelters, and permanent housing.
Because at the end of the day, shelter solves sleep. Housing and supportive services solve homelessness.
Governor Gavin Newsom is promising to throw a lot of money at the state's ongoing homelessness problem. The governor says he wants to devote $1.75 billion to homelessness.
Example of the homeless problem on display in Sacramento last night on CBS 13 News at 10. We told you about a homeless man caught with his pants down, pleasuring himself less than a mile from a school. Well, today CBS 13 investigator Julie Watts sat down one-on-one with Governor Newsom and asked for his response to our story in light of the $1 billion in his budget aimed at the homeless crisis.
What's your reaction when you see that photo?
I'm horrified by it because it's indelible memory for a young child. I'm empathetic, not only to the child, to the parent, outraged on their behalf, but also this poor soul. No human being wants to be in that position.
Is $1 billion enough to stop this from happening?
No, but $1 billion is an unprecedented down payment. I'm getting serious about this.
Despite record spending statewide to address the crisis, it's only getting worse, and people are frustrated.
It's crazy. We have heroin overdoses all over the streets here. My wife is actually scared to go out and walk on the street.
Oh my God, we're driving past homeless people and we are not seeing them. That is the end of our humanity.
Tonight, in-depth reporting on this important issue as CBS NLA presents Breaking Point, California's homeless crisis.
Tonight, they're the images alarming Californians. In L.A., the homeless on places like the Hollywood Walk of Fame and along the iconic Venice Boardwalk.
Any and everywhere you go, in and out of stores, homeless, homeless, homeless.
What was once largely confined to the city's notorious Skid Row can now be seen all across Los Angeles.
Happening today, Governor Newsom kicks off a week-long homelessness tour in Grass Valley. He's going to visit Nevada's Homeless Outreach and Medical Engagement Program, which provides health care to the homeless. The tour comes after the governor proposed more than $1 billion to take on the state's homeless problem.
I know that homelessness can be solved. It is our cause, it's our calling. Let's all rise to the challenge and make California stand up as an exemplar of what true courage and compassion can achieve.
Beachfront homeless encampments. It's a trend you've probably seen more of during the pandemic, even though it's illegal. New encampments have been popping up throughout LA in the last 5 months. Mayor Eric Garcetti and LA County officials vowed to get people off the streets during the pandemic. But as NBC4i team investigator Joel Grover is finding, the number of people living outside appears to have multiplied.
Homelessness here in California has been an issue for years now, but the pandemic made the problem a crisis. As KCAL 9's Leslie Marin explains tonight, Governor Newsom now says he has a plan.
What we're doing here today is multiples of what any state in American history has committed to address this crisis of homelessness straight on.
Newsom's plan will expand the state's Project HomeKeep, which includes $7 billion to buy hotels and motels that will provide 46,000 units, each unit costing about $150,000.
Nothing like the homeless crisis exists anywhere else in the United States like it exists and persists here in the state of California. So we have to do more and we have to do better.
Governor Gavin Newsom
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
outlined his budget proposal today to confront what he referred to as one of California's greatest existential threats, homelessness.
Now, I'm not naive. I see exactly what you see, and that's the need to do more and better. Well, I'm not the mayor of California. There are 470 plus cities. It's not an excuse. The state of California had no homeless plan when I got here. There were no investment strategies. The state of California was nowhere to be found on homeless policy. I never looked to criticize or complain to Governor Schwarzenegger when he was governor and I was mayor, or Governor Gray Davis when he was governor. Never even thought about it. The state of California had nothing to do with the issue. When I got here, there was no plan, no strategy, no accountability, nothing. Today, just 3.5 years later, $14.7 billion of new money. Unprecedented money to buy hotels and motels all up and down the state. Over 13,000 units we've procured in the last 2 years.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom is ready to spend another $1 billion to combat homelessness in California. He predicts the state's homeless population will decrease by 15% by 2025 under the new plan. While he's already spent more than $22 billion on the problem since 2019, he's hoping this money will be better spent. California is home to 1/3 of all homeless people in the United States. And despite tens of billions of dollars funneled in to reduce the homeless population, it's continued to rise.
We have our 10-year chronic, planned, and chronic homeless that has already become a national model. Make no mistake.